This is One Sentence News, a daily podcast featuring 3 news stories with a sentence-long summary and 1 sentence of context apiece. I'm Colin Wright. It's Friday, July 15th, 2022. Let's talk about the news. From interesting engineering, in a world first, perovskite silicon solar cells break the 30% efficiency barrier. The EPFL's Photovoltaics and Thin Film Electronics Laboratory, in partnership with the CSEM Innovation Center, have announced a breakthrough in high-efficiency solar panels made from inexpensive materials, resulting in a 31.25% efficiency. Perovskite silicon solar cells have long lagged behind their 3-5 semiconductor brethren, which are capable of efficiencies surpassing 45%, but which cost something like 1,000 times more than silicon solar cells, while silicon solar cells have a theoretical efficiency limit of 29% and a current practical limit of about 27%. Thus, this milestone is being seen as a psychological victory as much as a practical one, as it suggests we may soon be able to transition over to a so-called tandem solar cell that costs about the same as contemporary silicon cells without that 29% efficiency ceiling. From The Verge, Netflix is partnering with Microsoft for its new ad-supported tier. In the wake of a round of absolutely abysmal subscriber numbers and a subsequent stock valuation collapse, Netflix leadership announced that they were beginning trials of an ad-supported tier for their platform, reversing previous claims that they would never introduce a free tier and would stick with paid subscriptions. That about-face was exciting for investors, as it meant the platform, which seemed to have reached a paid subscriber peak that would be difficult to surpass, could soon tap into a huge new potential customer base, at a moment in which folks are more likely to reduce their paid subscriptions and opt instead for ad-supported freebies. Their stock price ticked upward after the company announced they would be relying upon Microsoft to handle the ad selling and ad insertion side of this new streaming tier. And from Reuters, US and Israel sign joint pledge to deny Iran nuclear weaponry. While visiting Israel as part of a larger diplomatic tour around the Middle East, the US president and his Israeli counterpart signed a pledge to deny Iran nuclear weapons at any cost. Iran denies pursuing nuclear weapons, even as it does things that suggest it very much does want nuclear weapons, or at least the option of having them, if they don't get what they want. The Iranian government has repeatedly said it doesn't believe Israel should exist, so the Israeli government's opposition to Iran's acquisition of such weapons makes some sense. U.S. interests in the region would also be hamstrung by a nuclear weapon-wielding Iran, so this pledge basically formalizes a bunch of statements both leaders have made in the past, at a moment in which Iran is hustling to refine ever more uranium, and in which negotiations for a nuclear deal, which would incentivize the Iranian government to stop pursuing such weapons, have largely stagnated. If you're finding some value in One Sentence News, consider leaving a quick review wherever you get your podcasts and/or sharing the show with a friend. You can find out more about this show or subscribe to the email version at onesentencenews.com. And you can support this and other related projects, like the Let's Know Things and Brain Lenses podcasts, at understandery.com.